don't even know how to like start this off. I'm just gonna tell you what happened. Car caught on fire. All right, this is the same Monte Carlo that has the wrong transmission, and it's been like a couple months. The transmission's here at AutoZone. I just gotta get it out and get it swapped over. Now, mind you, I've had a lot of other stuff I have to work on, so I go to move this car around to get it in a spot where, all right, you're next in line, you're gonna get worked on. And when I tell you, I moved the car, hopped out the car, moved into another car, and looked in the rearview mirror, and I saw smoke billowing from the hood. I just popped the hood, got some water, doused it on here, and it was a fire. You could probably tell what happened. What happened, there was a fuel line there that was replaced, and they used a rubber hose. The rubber hose became brittle, dry rot, and it cracked. And it just so happened when I happened to move it, it was a very hot day. It got down here in the back. Let me show you. I'm suspecting it leaked, got down, shot down by the wires, and ignited. Now, if you know the old school way of detecting a misfire with ignition wires, you can spray water down there because water is a conductor and it'll cause the arc to jump. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Fluid and fumes, it just ignited. It just needed a squib. I think I said that right. It just needs some ignition source, and those plug wires were just enough. Just it was an ignition system, just like in a combustion chamber, and it ignited. I got to it as fast as I could, doused with water, cover melted, had a little burn mark up under the insulation here. I don't know if this was like fire retardant or not, but it looked like it, it didn't burn, so I guess it is fire retardant. Burned a couple other things like the alternator. Oh gosh, I'll get that later. Alternator. You got some wires, plenty of wires burnt up. O2 sensor wire burnt up. Harness is burnt. And we got some goo here, so I'm gonna try to clean that off there. I got a new connector for the alternator. I got a new connector for the oxygen sensor from the junkyard. The plan is to simply strip and remove those uninsulated wires and just put this in place of it, insulate it with heat shrink right there, and go from there. I'm not soldering. I'm just not a big fan of soldering joints sometimes, especially when I can just twist them, use the heat wrap. The twist is already going to keep it together. The glue from the heat wrap, heat shrink, is going to be able to keep it bonded together. And being that it's going to be insulated with the wire protector, the tape is going to keep those mended together, keep them like a brace, so it'll flex and move. I wouldn't have to worry about anything happening. This is just the preferred preference here of just twisting, braiding, or however you want to call it. So that's the plan. Luckily, it didn't damage a lot of wiring, and I just have this section to do in the back. So the plan is just to remove the connectors from all below, like the knock sensor. I think that goes to the transmission speed sensor and some other things, oil pressure switch, and just lay it over one wire at a time, remove and replace, get it taken care of. It does start up and run. I did do a patch job. You can get those, that fuel line repair kit from any part store. I got it from O'Reilly's in the help section, so it's fixed like it's supposed to. And that the heating up the metal, like that barb 3/8 tube, it just jam it in there. It'll contour, the plastic will expand, relax after it cools, and then contour to that that barb fitting there. And you just do the same for the other side, and it works perfectly fine. So that is a legitimate repair for the fuel system. So I got that fixed. It came in here on its own. All I gotta do is repair that wiring, what's broken, check for codes, go from there. I do have a new oxygen sensor on the way too from O'Reilly's, And I'm just trying to get back at a neutral plane so I can start pulling this transmission out and get this car gone. It's been here for like 4 months, I want to say. And trust me, with the stuff I've been having going on with vehicles, with customer supply parts and their quality parts, people and their I guess lagging linguistic abilities, just it just, they seem, I don't know, I don't want to say unenthused and ambitious, but you have to, it's already stressful enough. You have to weed through the bullshit from what people say. Is like, okay, are they legitimately want to fix their car? The removal of personal accountability with customers, I can't begin to tell you, but this is my cousin's car here. I guess since we're talking about this, he's easygoing and understanding, but anything can be fixed. It's just everybody else that pretty much stresses things out. Anyway, I digress. Let's start pulling things down from the bottom, get it laid over, and start pulling these wires out one by one. So in the back here, I already had to do some wire repair on, I want to say, the knock sensor down here, because it had a code while I was out. I just went ahead and repaired that. So everything's working fine with that, with the connector. So I'm just gonna pull everything I can loose. And I think it's just the oil pressure sensor here, transmission range sensor or speed sensor. I said range sensor, speed sensor, and the knock sensor. And I should be able to, I think the oxygen sensor at the bottom. I should be able to pull it up through after I remove all those. I got the battery disconnected. I went to the very bottom, got the oil pressure sensor, it's the knock sensor, transmission speed sensor here, and then this is the downstream O2 sensor right here. So all this is fine. I just need to repair this wiring here. Let me get the alternator. I got to get the battery wire off of there. And then I got the new oxygen sensor came in. She just delivered that. Where's my? I just have my wire cutters. I promise you. I just have them. I want to keep some of the wires together. Something I just rather keep them together. I can kind of get an idea of their position. And then I just got to take the battery wire off and I might have to pull some of the injectors. It's not as bad as I thought it was. So this is completely replaceable. This is It's not bad at all. Pull the injectors. I do have a vacuum line that's broken also. I can repair that. I gotta figure out where this goes. Oh, right here. So I gotta repair this vacuum line here. No big deal. Oh yeah, so we're in good shape. Let's get to a comfortable place, and I can start removing and replacing. I might be able to move this over. Pull this off of here. Let's see. I want to move it around, but this is going to break more than what's already broken. So this is a pretty comfortable area here I can work with. Got plenty of room. I can relax my back. I sound old. I'm gonna relax my back here, and I can do what I need to do. So let's get the insulation cut down and expose most of the good wire, and see what we got to do. Ideally, I'm gonna do the hard stuff first, which is gonna be, this doesn't go anywhere on this car. This was just exposed. So I could probably just cut these wires back and just tape them off. Probably just put a knot in there. I guess the hard part would be just to do the oxygen sensor first. Get that wire addressed. The battery wire for the alternator, fuel injection. have the orientation of the connector. Cut to match. All right, one at a time. Shit. First don't move. Cut the wrong wire. That was the ground wire. So I got the oxygen sensor knocked out. It looks really good. Just make sure that there's no additional wires sticking out, like pricking out, because it could penetrate another insulation if the conditions are right. So I don't got to worry about it coming out or anything. These are knotted together. I'm gonna do my alternator connector, re-insulate that. This one isn't that bad. Let's see. I had to repin the one that I got. It's not exactly the same from the donor car that I got it from, but it fits in there just fine. So I'm just gonna match these up, red to red, and even though this orange wire is a different color, it'll still work out. We know where our power wire is. This might be a little longer. It's been several minutes later. Well, it's been a while. I had wound up taking a break actually, but it didn't take long to get this wiring harness repaired and back installed. And what I did was, oh gosh, just use some rubber hose for the melted line here, this vacuum line you see, just some crazy glue on the end tips there, and that'll be perfectly fine. So everything, I kind of got it somewhat cleaned up. I was got a lot of insects out here. So, but what is back starting? There's no check engine light codes. You gotta forgive me. No check engine light codes. No issues running. Let me see. Got the oxygen sensor. Got the brand new one. I mean, once we get some of this superficial stuff replaced, I mean, it'll be normal. We'll be back good again. I took some brake cleaner and tried to get some of that soot off the valve cover, but it runs. Let me show you. So check engine light did pop on, but I don't have the air temp sensor hooked up. That's the only real reason why. And cause that's just a straight open circuit. So it's unfortunate this happened. And like I said, we just gotta get some superficial stuff like the wire divider here, get that, and alternator cover. And for the most part, we'll just, it'll pretty much be as if nothing ever happened, and it's fine. I mean, it technically needed more insulation down at the bottom. Down with the bank 2 sensor ears, I got that fully insulated and knotted off at the end with some wire tape. I hate that, you know, we get these setbacks, but I guess the lesson learned, if anyone ever have to patch up a fuel line, don't use rubber hose on the plastic, because using a hose clamp on that plastic will cause it to, after a while of contracting and relaxing, the plastic's going to give in, the hose is going to take shape and stay solid. It's going to get hard and it's going to develop leaks, and over time it's going to dry rot depending on the quality of hose you use. Gasoline is erosive. I mean, it'll cause some things to break down, especially if the rubber hose isn't fuel compatible. So that's the main thing. If it's fuel compatible, you're fine, but if it's not, then yeah, it's going to be a no-go. And the hose that was on there wasn't. He had a hose clamp on it on each end. Didn't work, obviously. This is what we got. So I'm back at zero. I'm back neutral for the most part on my end. We have the correct transmission for this vehicle, and only thing left is to remove this one, take the new one back to AutoZone, get the correct one. I did test that, so that does have the transmission fluid pressure switch inside of it, and get it back installed. So I'm trying to make it into a 2-day project once I get some downtime, get this done and completely out the way. So I guess if anything else happened, I'll definitely update. Hit that link, subscribe to the channel, stay informed how to reach my work. See you on the next one.